Good morning. My name's Nicholas. I'm an ecologist from Northern Illinois. Today, I'm going to take you with me on a little adventure to some of the most diverse and beautiful ecosystems throughout Illinois. We're going to use camera equipment, some patience, and a little bit of knowledge to take a closer look at some animals and plants that you might not even know exist. So why don't you come with me, follow me into the woods, and let's learn a thing or two. I'm out in the middle of the woods in Northern Illinois, and although it may seem very quiet right now, soon these woods will be echoing with the sounds of a bunch of different kinds of frogs. Let's see if we can hear them. As you can see, or in this case here, if you're quiet enough, nature will talk, and it's loud sometimes. How about we take a closer look at these really cool frogs that call these little ponds home?
Spring peepers are amongst the first sounds that can be heard in the early spring, outcompeted in their vocals only by that of their close relatives, the chorus frogs. Although these tiny frogs are not much larger than a thumbnail, they can jump further than 17 times their body length.
While you're out in nature, it's very important to appreciate all types of life. That includes plants. Especially now, in the spring ephemerals are coming up, and they're some of the coolest plants of all. Around me right now, I've got some cutleaf toothwort, and right here, some Dutchman's breeches. How about we look at these a little more up close? Check this out. Right next to me, right here, we have a plant that's called bloodroot. Why is it called bloodroot? Well, here's a close-up of the root. Can you see that? It almost looks exactly like blood. Now, you should never go out and pick flowers or anything like this. I'm doing this just as demonstrative purposes, but it's really important to remember that every flower you pick is another flower that's not gonna grow next year. So appreciate them, but don't pick them. I just found one of the weirdest plants Illinois has to offer. This right here is called skunk cabbage. Check out these flowers. They're some of the weirdest looking things you'll ever see. Now, why are they called skunk cabbage? Well, they stink, and that's because they attract flies to pollinate them so they can reproduce. Pretty cool, pretty rare. Whew. Now that we've taken a look at the spring plants, let's take a look at another important aspect of spring, the migrating birds. Since it's getting warmer up north, a lot of birds are moving up from the south. Let's see if we can go out and find any beautiful birds, or perhaps even some that are starting to build their nests. How do I get there? I'm just outside of a retention pond right now, and you might be able to see a couple mallards. But back over there, in those willow trees, there's a duck that's a little bit more special. Let's see if we can get a closer look without disturbing it.
A member of the dabbling ducks. Blue-winged teals search for food below the surface of the water with their beaks.
Wow. Would you take a look at the size of this oak?
That's what you call tree hugging. Oaks like this might be 150, over 200 years old. And because of their size, they house some of the most incredible wildlife. Let's take a closer look at some of the things that you can find way up in the top of these super old oak trees.
This might be one of the biggest oaks I've ever seen in my entire life. I was poking around up in the canopy with my binoculars to see if I could see anything cool, and boy did I find something special. I'm gonna take you guys in for a closer look now. So let's look through the eyes of my binoculars, or in this case, my telephoto lens, and get close and personal with an amazing bird that lives way up top.
One of the largest owls in the US, the great horned owl is a formidable predator. Most owls will hunt at night, but these large raptors have been known to hunt during the day. These owls use their impressive vision and hearing to hone in on prey while rotating their heads over 250 degrees.
Now typically, owls don't like people, and they'll fly away well before you even know that they're there. But in this case, this one was sticking around. So I thought I would poke around for a little bit and see if I could find a reason why. And boy did I. This owl is a parent. So let's stay quiet and use this lens to stay at a safe distance so that we don't disturb the babies. Let's take a look.
The babies rely on camouflage from their feathers while remaining perfectly still to avoid detection. At around 7 weeks old, babies begin to practice flight and often fall from the nest. Rest assured, the parents are often close by and will fiercely protect any fallen young. Although its sibling has moved on, this little individual has found itself stranded only a few meters off of the ground. The parents will often leave the babies alone during the day, hoping that their camouflage will be enough to protect them from predators. Although they have not fully developed the ability to fly, juvenile owls are not defenseless. Watch closely as this individual carefully watches passing animals below, ready to defend itself should the need arise. Unfortunately, as is nature, many babies do not survive the night should they find themselves stranded close to the ground where predators are abundant. Early the next morning, the sun shines across the canopy, illuminating a single owl. This individual was the first to leave the nest and has successfully reached the safety of the treetops. However, not far behind, we see the formerly stranded individual now safely perched high out of danger, likely protected through the night by vigilant and hardworking parents. Now, after protecting both of the young, this adult can finally relax and take a well-deserved rest. While of course still keeping an eye open every now and again, just in case.
As you can see, the sun is out, and that means one thing. It's starting to warm up. Now there's one type of animal in Illinois that loves the heat more than any other, and that is reptiles. We're gonna ditch the telephoto lens and switch to a macro lens to get an up-close and personal look at some of the most diverse amphibians and reptiles that Illinois has to offer. All right, so in my hand,
I have two of Illinois' coolest snakes. These are eastern milk snakes. They're in the king snake family, and they're called king snakes because they eat other snakes. Now, milk snakes get their name from an old wives' tale, basically saying that they can be found under cows sucking on their udders and things like that. But we, of course, now today know that that's not true. But still, today we call them milk snakes, and they are beautiful. Look at that.
Deep in only the most untouched and wild parts of Illinois can you find one of the most iconic and feared animals, the timber rattlesnake. Although these snakes grow large and possess a potent hemotoxic venom, they pose virtually no threat to humans. Snakes of all shapes and sizes swallow prey whole. Even the largest timber rattlesnake would never look towards a human as prey. Their venom is far too precious to waste on something they cannot eat. Most snakes will move away in fear or give a warning rattle when approached. A snake will only bite as a last-ditch effort when provoked. They are only as dangerous as humans force them to be. Should we as humans learn to respect and understand some of our most feared animals, perhaps we can yet still live in harmony with the creatures that call our state home.
Due to glaciers that once moved through northern Illinois, we have some of the most fertile soil in the entire world. This gave rise to floristically diverse grasslands known as the prairies. Illinois is known as the Prairie State because most of our ecosystems were once prairie. Unfortunately, today, that name is a stark reminder of the past, as over 99.99% of all historic prairie in Illinois has been turned into what you see behind me. There is need for agriculture, but perhaps not on the scale seen in Illinois. It is an important reminder that we need to conserve and restore what little ecosystems we have left so that future generations can appreciate the diverse flora and fauna that Illinois has to offer.
Well, I think that about wraps up our awesome adventure for today. Hope you guys had fun and learned a thing or two. And if not, I hope you guys gained a little bit more appreciation for our northern Illinois ecosystems. But before we go, I want to go out on one last good note. So why don't you follow me and we can take this journey to the next level. Remember, just because this video is over doesn't mean that your nature experience has to be. Remember, if you're gonna be a nerd, you might as well be a nature nerd. So get outside and explore.